Hi, everybody. This is Lee. I'm talking about Margaret Flowers, Dr. Margaret Flowers, and Kevin Zees. They co-wrote an article that's been published on Counterpunch. Sanders has his priorities backwards. We can't delay Medicare for all. And then there's another article I saw by Robert Reich. I think it's Reich or Reich. He wrote an article about now is the time to support Medicare for all. That there's been so much focus on defending Obamacare, which is not defensible when there's actually something better out there. That the flaws with Obamacare have become so apparent and so obvious. Specifically, that Obamacare was a bailout for the insurance companies, the Affordable Care Act, and for the pharmaceutical industries, just like the banks were bailed out, the insurance companies were also bailed out through the use of Obamacare. And that bailout came when about 50 million people in the United States were without health insurance. It set up markets to sell insurance that everyone was forced to buy, forcing public money into private entities, unless they were covered by public insurance. They hired people to sell that insurance and then subsidize the purchase of health insurance with 100 billion every year. That's 100 billion that went straight into the bank accounts of the private health insurance companies, and that they had a profit motive to actually spend as much of that 100 billion on themselves and the least amount on the patient. And so we got ganked. But anyway, Margaret Flowers was there. She ought to know when Obamacare was being negotiated how the public option was taken off the table, and certainly single payer. But now people are saying like this excuses that are coming out now were the same excuses that came out about 8 years ago, and they just do not fly. That we're beyond the public option stage. We should have had the public option back in 2009, 2010. And so we've moved beyond that now. Now it's Medicare for all. Single payer is what people want, what people need. And that is defensible. There's no one perfect system. There are flaws with every system, but this is a system that creates the largest pool of people inside that insurance pool, which means lower costs to everyone. There's more healthy people into that pool, more younger people, more well people, and that spreads the risk, and so everyone pays less rather than creating these special pools of people, separating people by age or pre-existing conditions. Under Medicare for All, everyone is covered. Everyone is in. No one is out. And that the larger the pool there is, the lower the risk and the lower the cost for everyone. And so she's saying, Margaret Flowers and Kevin Zees, that now is the time. And the problem is that Bernie Sanders has kind of gone back and forth on this. He's said like everything from Medicare for all to single payer to universal health care to public option to work our way up to it. And so it was hard to pin down. And I created a video a few weeks ago just saying, you know what, I keep hearing about this Senate bill that Bernie said. He's been talking about a Senate bill since January. His Medicare for All Senate bill, his single payer Senate bill. And okay, where is it? And let's see it. And so now we're hearing different stories about what it is and what it's going to be. And so Margaret Flowers is saying it has to be Medicare for all, that it can't be a public option or something like that, or Medicare buy-in or something like that. And why would people want to do that? And so, it might be the corporate money that's being poured into the Democratic Party, and he's receiving pressure from Chuck Schumer And also he's being targeted by media for various things. And, people are saying, well, Bernie Sanders doesn't take corporate money, but I've also done a video about bundling. And so, we can call it individual donors, we can call it bundling. Do we really know what it is? But anyway, it's somewhat of a charade that we're seeing before us. And that the writers of this article are speculating that Bernie Sanders has more loyalty to the Democratic Party than to the base of the Democratic Party. And we've seen several examples of this, even his going so far as to use hundreds of thousands of dollars of his campaign war chest, using that money to pay the cost of that unity tour for the DNC, even while his support base is trying to get their money back with this DNC fraud lawsuit. And so we have to look what is the focus here. More examples like that. But anyway, there's positions on committees that might be vulnerable. He's ranking member on several important committees. I think budget committee is one. And that he's got a new position that he wants to protect. So he's got things to lose. There's leverage on him. And so that might possibly be one of the reasons. And so Margaret Flowers and Kevin Zeese are saying, okay, what can be done? And she's saying that there's a need to be very clear and very uncompromising in the demand for national improved Medicare for all now, not 10 years from now, not 20 years, not, whatever, now. And that people are trying to deflect and defend and change course and distract, but there's a need to stay the course. And so she's saying that, call Bernie Sanders 202-224-5141. You might get his voicemail. Call him anyway, they're saying. Contact your own senators. Tell them to support National Improved Medicare for All. Ask them to introduce the Senate companion bill to H.R. 676, because it might not have to be Bernie Sanders. It could be another senator. People focus on Bernie Sanders because he spoke about introducing a bill. But it doesn't have to be him. It could be a rising star in the Democratic Party, someone who wants to soar in 2020. That might be their ticket to whatever they wanted, their come up. And they're saying Elizabeth Warren in this article, and I'm thinking, well, okay, maybe. It's possible. It's possible. But anyway, I'll post links to this article in the description. You can see what Dr. Margaret Flowers and Kevin Zeese think. I'll post a link to the article by Robert Wright. Also, a link to the text of the National Improved Medicare for All. And just the concept that there are so many other industrialized nations, and then even nations that are not industrialized, that actually have a form of universal health care. Not all the systems are the same, but there is some form of universal health care. This HR 676 is one version that people are wanting for the U.S. National Health Service in Great Britain. And the fact that so many other people have this system and we don't, we can say, okay, one of these things is not like the others, which is us. Why is that? I blame Anne Ryan. People are elevated her and saying, well, freedom, 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 free market. She was on Medicare late in life. As she got older and sicker due to lung cancer, she went on Medicare. She paid into the system, but she paid a standard deduction into the system. Was her care under Medicare standard? She had lung cancer. So it's very likely that she actually received more out of Medicare as a form of insurance, that she actually received more from that pool of money than what she paid in. And that means that she had the benefit of a form of socialized medicine helping her out later in life, and that why would anyone cite her as an example to deny anyone else treatment under Medicare? In fact, all of us who are vulnerable. So, I think that's, runaway conclusions with Anne Ryan. People are not really accepting that even she didn't abide by all that she claimed to be about late in life, that she actually had to accept that we all need somebody and that we all need a pool of money because something happens to all of us. That yes, we pay in to Medicare, or, whatever, with a payroll tax or whatever, and that we might get more or less back depending on whether we're healthy or not healthy, young or, whatever we are. So, you know, and that's the way I look at it. And people just really misunderstanding what happened with that. But I say good luck contacting Bernie Sanders, blowing up his phone, and telling more people about Medicare for All. Good luck.